No one wants to go back to the office. Notice I did not say no one wants to go back to work because we are all about language around here, and I'm being very, very nitpicky and very, very specific about the language that I'm choosing when I talk about this subject, because I think the frustrations that come along with going back to the office are not really rooted in the idea of work. Of course, it's going to be, a very individual circumstances of, whether you like the work that you do or not. But I don't think the frustrations that are coming up for people right now who either have already gone back to the office or they're going to be going back to the office soon. I don't think those frustrations are really rooted in the idea of work. When you work, you make money and you need money to have things. So I don't think it is work. I think there's something about office culture. There's something about being in one place for, roughly 8 hours a day, probably 8 to 10 hours realistically, that is very stifling for people. And I'm not even talking about right now the commutes that people have, to and from work, and all the other, logistical things that go along with not working from home. I am very lucky because I have worked from home for a long time. So I don't have to think about going back to the office, but anytime this has come up in any conversations that I've been having with people or people that people know who are slowly getting back to going back to the office, it has come up in their lives, the idea of going back to the office. The general consensus is, nobody wants it. It does not seem like a fun experience. So again, I don't have that to deal with, but I was thinking about if I did have to go back to an office, what habits would I want to carry over to sort of combat that culture that people feel really annoyed about or a little on edge about, or just, the environment that people don't want to go back to? What could we bring from our working from home experiences back to the office to make working at the office a little more pleasant? So that's what I want to share. I've broken it down into an acronym that I'm calling BFB, because there are 3 elements that I think are fairly straightforward and fairly simple that you can bring from your working from home culture if you have to go back to an office and start doing work. So the first element is B, and it stands for boundaries. Now, people get confused about boundaries all the time because if you're a conscientious person, if you're someone who's a team player, you like working well with people, you don't want to upset anyone. You want to go with the flow. You want to do a good job in your work. You want to be an agreeable coworker. And all that is really understandable. But boundaries serve not only your own needs, they help other people too, because you're teaching other people how to treat you and also how to treat other people if you want to get a little bit deeper, because they're going to be confronted with an idea, a boundary that they may not be familiar with, but they could take it into other relationships in their lives, and everyone sort of benefits. Like the ripple effects of boundaries, I think, can be real. Of course, you cannot control someone else's actions, whether or not they're going to learn from your boundary and take that into the rest of their lives. But I think the potential is there. So why not start it by putting up your own boundaries? Because I think when you work from home, you do have more of your protected space where people cannot intrude or invade your personal space as much. So this step about boundaries is really looking for areas where you can bring that back to your office work life. And it's not about defying your boss. It's not about being difficult. And it's not about, stirring things up when you would rather them just be peaceful. I have at least 1 or 2 videos about using the word no and saying no to people, because no is my favorite word. So I'll link them in the description box below if you want to hear more about different circumstances where it is very beneficial for you and others to use the word no, and sort of change the direction of your interaction with them for everyone's benefit. Again, it's not you upsetting someone by saying no or putting up a boundary. It's how that boundary is mutually beneficial in the long run for people. So how this might play out when you go back to the office. Let's just say, I think I just want to jump in with an example so you can, see exactly how this could come up for you. Let's just say you have been, or when you used to be in the office, you would have a 1-hour meeting every Monday. And since everyone's been working from home, you've changed that to a 30-minute Zoom call. But now that everyone's back in the office, it's sort of like the default that you would go back to the previous dynamic, which was an hour meeting in person. Like that's what we did before. We're all here together in person again. That's sort of the standard. So it's really easy to slip back into that routine. So your role here is to not underestimate your ability to change your office culture. Because if there's something going on that doesn't make sense to you, and maybe it doesn't make sense to your coworkers either, it's not that the people in charge are necessarily wanting to annoy you or wanting to do something in a sort of inefficient way. A lot of the time, it's just someone hasn't thought of a better way. Everyone's keeping their mouth shut. No one's suggesting something new. And this is where you can really step into your personal power to create boundaries and make a suggestion. Again, it's not trying to be difficult, or you're not trying to piss off anyone. But again, I really like this idea of don't underestimate your power to change your company culture. So you can be the person to speak up and say, hey, let's not go back to that 1-hour meeting. Let's, even though we're all in the office, let's keep it to that 30-minute Zoom call. Or you could suggest something else, saying that 30-minute Zoom call is going great, but I think we can make it even more efficient. Let's hash out everything we need to talk about on Slack, for 15, 30 minutes, or whatever messaging system that your company uses. And a really extra thing that you can do, and something that I would definitely suggest, is it comes from copywriting, and it's leading with benefits. Because what you really are doing when you're making one of these suggestions is you're trying to persuade someone who has the power to change this aspect of your company culture. You want to persuade them to see your point of view and to make the change that you think would be really great. So if you're going to, a manager, someone in charge who has the power to keep this meeting only as a Zoom meeting for 30 minutes, even though you're all in the office, or to even, go further and condense it down to something that you can do over instant messaging for, 15, 30 minutes, you would want to see how making that decision benefits that person and lead with the benefits. So tying it all together, you can suggest to your manager and say something like, hey, on Mondays, I know you have to do reports that you have to turn in at the end of the day. And you're always scrambling on Mondays, and I know you could use extra time. So instead of going back to that 1-hour meeting like we always used to do, is there a way that we could keep it on Zoom even though we're in the office, just because Zoom seems more efficient? Or cut it down to Slack to give you even more time to work on those reports. I think we can cover everything that we need to in a shorter amount of time, which should free up your time to do your other work. So you see how if you approach it in a smart way, boundaries become not only beneficial to you because you want to say no to something, they become beneficial to the person that you are putting up a boundary around, because none of that was really about you. Like, you get more extra time in the day, obviously, because you don't have to sit in an hour meeting, which makes you feel like you have more of that work from home environment. You're not even mentioning that. You're leading with how it benefits the person in charge of that decision. You're leading with the benefits that affect that key decision maker. So that's, that example isn't going to be relevant to everyone, but I think you can pick out from it how you might be able to apply it to whatever you're going through with these sort of little annoying things that make you feel back in that draining office culture that you didn't have when you were working from home. So moving on to the second element, it is our F, and it stands for food, because I think one of my favorite elements of working from home is having groceries in my kitchen and being able to just have them there when I take breaks to eat, because it is important to take breaks to eat. So I've always played with the idea, like, if I had to be out during the day, what would be my food plan? And I think this takes a little extra work on your part. It really doesn't involve anyone else, but how can you bring your work from home food experience to the office? Can you prep your meals ahead of time so that you essentially have what you have at home in the office, so you don't feel like, oh, I'm spending extra money because I need it for convenience, because I just have to get food out because there's nothing to eat in the office. Bring your work from home food routine to the office. So prep your food ahead of time. See if you can, change your budget so that you don't even make it an option for you to eat out during the day for convenient purposes. Like, that little extra effort it's going to save you money, because you're not spending money here and there on food out because you've prepared ahead of time. So you need to spend a little more extra time on this, but again, this is not a money tips channel, but it will save you money if you don't even make it an option for you to spend money out during the day, because you have put all of that budget and effort into how you prepare your food, so that when you're at the office during the day, it essentially mirrors what your food experience looks like at home. I have a video topic in mind about writer life food, and my own experience with how to be very efficient with your food during the day when you do creative work. So that's going to be an upcoming video. If you're not already subscribed to the Revision Fairy channel, click that red subscribe button below the video right now. Tap the notification bell so that you get notifications every time I upload something new for you. And if you are liking this video so far, make sure to hit the like button while you are looking at all the things below the video. It really helps me determine what I should make videos about in the future as well. So our third element is the last B, and it stands for breaks, because when you're at home, your breaks feel more like your own time. You're at home, so maybe you do something really productive like paying bills or doing some laundry during your breaks. And those might not be possible if you take a break when you're in the office. I think a big drain of being in an office opposed to working at home is just this feeling that the time isn't yours, that you're confined to this other space that isn't yours, and And you're sort of just, well, this is why people like having offices in theory. The people who are pro office, it's because it's ideally a place to only focus on the work, not your laundry, not paying bills. And so I'm not saying I'm anti-office. It's not the environment that I work in at all. Because I do see both sides, but I think there can be a middle ground. Of course, that's why I'm making this video. So about breaks, see how you can bring the productive things and the fulfilling things that you do during your breaks when you're working from home back to the office. So I think this really just boils down to time management and really focusing on how you spend your time. Because if you spend a 10-minute break at work, mindlessly watching a YouTube video, like that is necessary a lot of the time. You just need a break. You need to tune out. Maybe you want to catch up on one of my videos, whatever is enjoyable for you. Definitely can serve a purpose every once in a while, but I think it helps to think bigger picture and how you can use your time wisely when you are taking a break. So when you're at the office, can you fit in, if you're able to log in on your computer system, paying bills that you need to pay so you have more free time after work? Can you do some writing that is extra, that, is for your own personal practice and your own personal growth during your breaks? Because maybe you would do that at home. Maybe you draw on a break at home, and that, gets your creative juices flowing. So think about how you spend your fun break time at home and utilize your time wisely at the office to not just do mindless things all the time during your breaks, but have them be productive and have them be fulfilling, because I think that is what's special about breaks at home. They can be productive and fulfilling more than what an office environment caters to, because maybe you're on a break and you end up talking to a coworker and you just, it can be nice. Again, the mindless videos, the coworker chat, all of that can be nice in small amounts and moderation, but you will have more of that work from home culture when you're back in the office if you have those fulfilling and productive things that you do during your break time, the majority of your break time, let's say. So that is BFB. That's what I would be doing if I was going back to an office right now. So I send that off to you if you are in that situation, or you'll be in that situation soon. If you know someone going back to the office and you think they could benefit from this video, please share it with them. And once again, if you are not subscribed, I would love to have you join me every week. I make videos that help you become a more hireable writer. So tap the red subscribe button below the video. Again, we're going below the video. While you're there, tap the notification bell to turn notifications on. And if you found this video helpful, or you think it will help someone you know, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and I will talk with you soon.